Hi, welcome back to week 11, session 4. I was faffing around trying to get a webcam because this is the one day that I actually wanted people to see my face. And it's the one day I can't show you my face. Now, the reason I wanted to show you my face is I am so happy. I am happy because today I've been receiving speeches, really, really good speeches. People have been emailing me, messaging me, sending me their speeches that they've clearly been working on, and they're so good. And I wanted to show you my happy face because I'm so pleased with the work of people that have done these amazing jobs for me. So I did want to show you my happy face. Now I can't, so maybe that's a small mercy. But I just want to foreground that this really is the last lesson um, of dedicated time on this. Now, what will happen is next week we will have quite a cute little one-off lesson about delivery and style, how you can practice reading your speeches, how you can use the reading of your speeches to inform other choices, revision, and the improvement of your speeches. But really, we're very close to the end of the time that we're going to give to these speeches. And I'm going to be directing you back to your individual class teachers to forward them your final and best versions. Okay. And if anybody is really brave, you could even do like I'm doing right now, record yourself reading your speech and sending it to me via this beautiful free software called Screencast-O-Matic. But that's for the future. Today, I just want to talk to you a little bit about editing and revising today. We're just going to do a warm-up activity together. Then I'm going to explain to you the difference between editing and revising. And then you're going to just use all of your time today to craft and finish and polish your beautiful speeches. So trust me, I am really smiley today because I was so impressed with the work that's being sent to me. Okay, so I've started again with the same question I asked yesterday. Can you see what is missing from this piece of work? And again, I'm reminding you that I'm using this word missing because this student hasn't done anything wrong. They are just missing some key elements. They just maybe need some more time. They just need to focus their attention on a few key elements. And it doesn't mean they've done anything wrong. As a teacher, we always navigate this tension between recognizing that some students put an incredible amount of effort and time into a piece of work, but there might be elements that are missing. And if we don't point out those missing elements as the teacher, we're potentially saying to that student, we don't want to upgrade you to the next level. We want you to stay where you're at. But at the same time, the tension is knowing when somebody's worked really hard and it sounds like you're being critical, that can really be detrimental and off-putting too. So actually talk about what's missing and reframing it so it's not that anybody has done anything wrong, you're just missing some stuff, is a really good way to think about editing and revising. It's not looking at your working, like ripping it apart and being like, oh my gosh, it's awful, I've done it all wrong, I'm just going to tear out the page and start again. I don't want any of you ever feeling like that about your work. Okay, but what we are in the process of learning is that there are things that we can do to pinpoint what's missing so that we can upgrade to the next level. Okay, and sometimes it's easier to do that with somebody else's work than our own. So today I would encourage you, if you've got someone knocking about at home, like I used my daughter Lyra yesterday, if you've got a second person that could look with you at your speech, they could be good, a pair of eyes to help you see what's missing. But fundamentally, in your exams, I know that's scary, but that's where we're heading as well. You will be the only pair of eyes that will get to look at your own work and edit and revise it based on what you see as missing. So it's a tough one. So here we go. As I read it to you, at least 3 edits. Now, there are more than 3 things wrong with this, but could you see 3 potential edits that you would make? The cost to our bank balances, even, sorry guys, start again. The cost to our bank balances might be low, but the cost to our consciences is high. And if we continue to turn a blind eye to the reality of child labour, then the cycle of exploitation will never be broken. It is time to turn the tide. Okay, guys, so press pause, take as long as you like. Now, in this activity, you can just make a mental note to yourself. What bits would I change? You could talk about it with somebody in the room. You could write down 3 things that you would edit, 3 elements that are missing that need to be upgraded. Okay, now even when we're thinking about spelling errors, don't say that's spelt wrong. You might say, well, that's missing that, or that's got too much of that. Try and get away from this negative language of anything being wrong, but we do want to recognize what's missing. Okay, so press pause and we'll go through our answers together in a minute. Okay, lovely people, and as if by magic, there we go. Okay, so these are some of the edits you might have seen. Now, look at that T. So often we miss capitals, okay, and we miss capitals because we prioritize, our brains prioritize other things as being more important when we're writing, when we're crafting. And what our brain often does is we often prioritize content, the what I want to say, over the way I say it. We do. We're often thinking about the clever idea, the am I covering the content? Am I writing down what I want? What do I want to say? And we prioritize the content, the what, over how we're writing it. And that's because often our brain can't carry lots of information at one go. And we've taught our brain that certain things in English lessons can kind of be ranked. This is more important than that. And often the capitals and the punctuation and the spelling, we devalue, we put it low on our list of priorities. So, and again, sometimes when we're working under time conditions or we're working in a stressful way, it again gets kind of downgraded in what's important to us. But, she says, the truth is it is really important. Okay, now it's really important because these things like capitals are all a part of what we call creating clarity and control. Okay, now self-control in all areas of life. I've been learning this on lockdown. Who's put on their lockdown weight? Self-control is really important, and to exercise self-control and discipline is the best way that we can achieve the best version of ourselves. And it's true. If I could exercise self-control, get to bed a little bit earlier, eat a little bit healthier, I would be a better version of myself than the slightly tired, slightly overweight, I don't know if I would use that word, but slightly bigger than I was a few weeks ago, Miss Deutsch, if I could exercise a little bit of self-control. So I know sometimes it feels like us teachers go on about these little things. And you might be thinking when we're going on about them, why is she sweating the small stuff? Come on. Why is it that important? Because it demonstrates self-control and control of your ideas, okay? A wild, untamed idea is not as powerful as an idea that is controlled and brought under kind of like control. It makes it more powerful. So absolutely. So as you're writing and you're finishing your speech, do look for things like your capital letters, okay? So the cost to our bank balances. Now, this is a common area where people miss their choices. They misuse a homophone. So homophones are words that sound the same but have different spelling and different meaning. So this is actually from the verb to be. This is the verb are. We are going to the shops. Really what we want here is the homophone OUR, showing ownership, our bank balances. So the cost to our bank balances might be low, but the cost to our conscience is high. So there's another homophone there, the two. Okay, so 2O is what we really want there. 200 means too much. I've eaten too much cake, too many O's, too much of something, okay? So again, be aware of homophones in your choices. Have I missed the opportunity to use the correct homophone? If I missed a letter, if I missed a spelling. And again, that same mistake, our conscience is high. And if we continue to turn a blind eye, did you see it? Yep, the eye to the reality of child labour, then the cycle of exploitation will never be broken. Now, the reason I I skipped the blue and the grey, high and blind, is actually sometimes what we begin to have to do is recognise there's what we call the edits, capitals, spelling, punctuation. But as I'm going to remind you or show you in a minute, we also need to recognise that this is a process of revision. Now, revision is different to editing. Editing is capital letters, spelling, punctuation. Revision is recognizing Have I missed the opportunity in this sentence to exercise greater control? Have I missed an opportunity to choose an even better word? Have I missed an opportunity to do something that's clever or more effective? So actually, we have missed an opportunity between hi and to actually control that long, extended sentence from the cost to broken by creating two smaller sentences. Okay, so after hi, we could put a full stop and create a new sentence. So sometimes with revision, it's seeing, is that sentence wild and untamed? Do I need to control it? Do I need to divide it? Could it work as two smaller sentences? Now, this last little bit is again about revision. Now, revision is always thinking, have I missed an opportunity to do something clever? Have I missed an opportunity to showcase something? Now, what I've shown here is that we did lots of lovely work on metaphors, and where some students miss a trick is they get metaphor happy. So they end up with lots of mixed metaphors. So I've introduced the metaphor here of being blind. I've got metaphor to do a cycle, and then I've got another metaphor about turning the tide. Now, although I've used metaphors, so there is nothing wrong, I've done exactly what Mrs. asked me to do to use metaphors. The truth is those are what we call mixed metaphors. So it becomes a choice. I could change the word blind, so it ties in with time to turn the tide. So then I've created a linked metaphor. Or I could change it's time to turn the tide, so it links in with blind. So sometimes when we look at the differences between editing and revising, that's how we have to approach our work. And at some point today, I do want you to reread your final speech and make sure that you edit and revise. In other words, you fix the basic errors like capitalization, punctuation, and spelling, but that you also think about, is there anything you can change in terms of a sentence structure or a word choice to make your writing even better? Now, for this last little bit, before I let you loose on your speeches, is I've been having some wonderful conversations via Show My Homework with this amazing student, Holly. Now, Holly is happy for me to use her name. I did ask, but I love to celebrate success stories, and Holly has been sending me an amazing speech that has been growing. And I just want to use Holly's speech to recognize the importance of editing and revising, even to a student like Holly who's doing such a good job. Now, this paragraph from Holly's speech, okay, you can see there's some things here I've looked at, but what I just want you to do is just listen, okay, and be patient as I go through this process. But thank you so much, Holly, for letting me do this. You are absolutely gorgeous. What a star. So what I mean by changing the future for young sportswomen includes showing it on TV, them getting better sponsors and promoting their games just as much as men's. Now, I love this. I immediately know she's in that stage of her speech, okay, where she's creating the positives. Yep, the falling action. I love it because I can see she's using a what I mean structure. So she's offering definition and amplification. She's clearly laid out some of the changes, showing it on TV, getting better sponsors and promoting their games, which is amazing. She has done nothing wrong. This is a really well structured paragraph. I love it. Okay, and promoting their games just as much as men's. So Holly was the one, I've mentioned it over a few lessons, that's doing equality for women in sport, which I think is such a really lovely topic, and it reflects Holly and her interests, which is where I think if you're stuck with the speeches, it might be because you've chosen something that you've not really got any interest in. Okay, often this is your like free chance to write, to create a speech about something you're really interested in, and for Holly it leads to amazing success. Okay, because men and women put in the same amount of physical exertion, this should be equal. If 35 major sports can pay equally, so can the other 9, because men and women work just as hard as each other. Now look at that. Look at all that amazing success, okay? Look at all that way that she's taken the learning, the lessons that we've been following and put it into practice. We've got her explanation sentence there, beginning with the because. We've got the effect sentence, if and then. But also in that effect sentence, look at that. She's got research. She said that there's 35 major sports that do pay equally, so the other 9 should. I love that. So we've got integrated research. We'll focus on the positives. We're using explanation, effects, and amplification. This is brilliant, okay? Then women don't get more injuries than men because they know that they will get the same. How can this change? So again, then she has this lovely cyclical final sentence that's also a question. I didn't even think of doing both in the same one, but she has. This is very clever. So this is an example of somebody that is not doing anything wrong, but there are a few elements that are missing that we could just pinpoint that would upgrade it even more. So we'll look at those together next.